ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूप स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य तोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थे सुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्म हृदय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, Chapter 7, verse number 55. This is description of sacrifice performed by Daksha, which was destroyed by Lord Shiva, and later on it was revived by Lord Shiva again. And we read how Lord Vishnu, he appeared with his 8-armed form to bless Daksha, and the glorification of the Lord by various members present there. And then Lord spoke finally these 5 verses in which he said that one should not think that Lord Shiva or Brahma is different from him. And this is also one of the offense against the holy name, to consider one is different or independent, because everybody is manifestation of the Lord. And especially about Brahma and Shiva, he said that he personally takes these forms for the purpose of creation and destruction. Maintenance he does himself. So he said that one who considers us as one and ultimate cause of the universe, then such a person, he attains peace. Maitreya Uvacha, Maitreya said, Evam Bhagavata Adishtah Prajapatir Patir Harim Architva Kratuna Svena Devanubhyato Yajat. In this way, being instructed by the Lord, then Prajapati Pati, the chief of all the Prajapatis, Daksha, he worshipped Lord Vishnu by this sacrifice, and then he worshipped the other devas who were present there, including Shiva. Prajapati Pati Daksha Vayate Angai Pradhanena. So he worshipped them in two ways, both by the anga or the parts and by the pradhan. The sacrifice has got many small parts in it. They are called the angas, Prakriti and Vikriti. So he worshipped them without that. रुद्रम च स्वेन भागेन ह्युपधावत समाहितः कर्मणोद वसानेन सोपान तरानपि उदवस्य स ऋत्विग्भिः सस्रावभृतं ततः. And then he also worshipped Lord Shiva by his portion, and then he worshipped the other devas who drink this soma juice. And after completing all this, then along with the Ritviks, he took bath, which is called Avbhrit. This is a special ceremony. After the sacrifice is over, then the Yajman, the host, is given a bath with the chanting of the mantras. Priests. Udvasyate samapyate anena iti udvasanam tena. So udvasanam means the last part of the sacrifice. Udvasya samapya avabhrit snanam chakara. After completing, then they put the bath. So that brings an end to the ceremony. By taking bath in this water which is kept there in the sacrifice where all the mantras are chanted, then he gets the power of that sacrifice. Tasmapi anubhavena sveneva aptaradasai dharmeva matim dattva tridashaste devam yayu. Then all the devas, they went to their respective places and they gave blessings to Daksha that he should remain fixed in dharma. And Sveneva Avapta Radhasa, Daksha, who was opulent by his own self, by his own activities, because he was a very powerful person. So they blessed him and told him that he should remain fixed in dharma. Because previously a lot of problem occurred by his improper behavior. So everybody instructed him that don't act like this again. Tasmai Dakshaya Avapta Radhase Prapta Siddhe. Daksha, who has already attained many perfections. So then they all left. So this is the end of this description of the sacrifice. Now Maitreya, he talks about Sati, what happened to her. Evam Dakshayani hitva sati purva kalevaram jagye himvata kshetre meenayamiti susrume. He said that we have heard that after Sati, the daughter of Daksha, has given up her body, then she took birth from Mena, wife of Himalaya. Himalaya is a mountain, but there is also a person, Himalaya, who is the presiding deity. This Himalaya is like his body, gross body, but he is also a person besides this, where he has his divine body. And he had his wife, whose name is Mena. And Sati was born to them, that's why she got the name Parvati. because Parvata means a mountain and Parvati means daughter of mountain. So this may now sound strange that mountain has a daughter. And this is also called Hemavati. So this name, Hemavati. So Hemavati means the daughter of Himalaya. Himalaya. तमेव दयितं भूय आवृङ्क्ते पतिमम्बिका अनन्य भावैक गतिं शक्ति सुप्तैव पुरुषम्. And in that birth also she again chose Lord Shiva as her husband. So in the Ramayana there is a very big story about the birth of Sati and how she performed austerities to please Shiva, and then Shiva came to test him, and then the whole description of Shiva's marriage, how the marriage procession of Shiva came to Himalaya. Shiva was riding on a bull. Like here in India, when there is a marriage ceremony, then bridegroom rides on a horse. So he was riding on his bull and he was being followed by all his ghostly beings, which were dancing and music. Then there was exercise. So very nice description of the marriage party is given in Ramayana. So she again chose him as her husband, and she did very severe austerities to please Shiva. That's why one of her name is Uma. Parvati's name is also Uma, because Uma is made from U and Ma. Ma means mother, and U is when you say something in great surprise. So she was doing so much austerity that people said, Uma. My God. And another of her name is Aparna. Aparna means leaves. And she was not even eating the leaves, not to speak of eating chapatis. So that's why she got the name Aparna. She was performing austerities, it's fasting. So when Narada went to him and said, why you want to marry this guy? You have all these snakes and just try to test him. So she did not budge from her resolution. She remained fixed. So Ananya Bhava Ek Gatim. Why she chose him? Because she is totally devoted only to Lord Shiva. Ananya Bhava means there is no other person in her mind. So birth after birth, she only chooses Lord Shiva. So as we read earlier also that when she gave up her body, she was only thinking of Shiva. And therefore she came to be born and having the same mentality of choosing Lord Shiva. So it was just like Shakti Suktaiva Purusham. It's like a person who sleeps and then wakes up. And then you wake up and then you remember what was there before you slept. When you sleep you forget where you are sleeping, who you are, what you are doing. Then you wake up and then you realize. So it was just like waking up. She woke up maybe from a dream. So that means this death was not really a death for her. She remembered everything and came to this same situation. एतद् भगवतः शम्भो कर्म दक्षध्वरद्रुहः Shrutam Bhagavatat Shishyad Uddhavan Me Brihaspate. So Maitreya says that he has heard this story from Uddhava, the disciple of Brihaspati. And the story of Lord Shiva, which is very wonderful, in which he destroys the sacrifice of Daksha. So one of the name itself of Shiva is Daksha Adhara Druha, or destroyer of Daksha's sacrifice, and also Yagyahan, simply just destroying the sacrifice. Avrinte bhaste smena vidyate anyasmin bhavo yasyasa. So Sri Vishnu Chakravarti comments that Parvati has no other bhava or consciousness but devotion to Lord Shiva. And ekam gati rupam pralaya kala shukta shakti purusham ishwaram upsuktam. So just like in the time of dissolution, all the energies go into the Lord, and at the time of creation the energies wake up. So like that she woke up and attained Lord Shiva. Idam pavitram paramis achestitam yasasya mayusamago vimarshanam yanityada karna naro nukirtayad dhanotyadham kauram bhakti bhavata. So this is the last verse of this chapter, in which he describes the benefit of hearing this katha. Says that idam pavitram paramisa chestitam, that this supreme activity of the Lord, which is very pure, yasasya mayusam agavamoshanam, it contains the fame of the Lord, and it removes all the sins and increases the lifespan of a person. Anyone who hears this regularly or recites it, then he becomes free from all the sins. Yonikkada karna naro nukirtaya dhanotyadham kaurav bhakti bhava. So this is the benefit. So if you hear this story, you are not wasting your time. You hear many stories, don't get any benefit. You hear this story, you are rewarded for your time. So therefore, after all the stories, there is some benediction which is pronounced. But the real benediction is that by hearing this, we gain bhakti. Nityam Bhagavat Seva. इति श्रीमद् भागवते महापुराणे पारमहंस्यां संहितायां चतुर्थ स्कंधे दक्षयज्ञ संधानम नाम सप्तम अध्याय. So this is the end of 7th chapter and 4th canto, which talks about the revival of Daksha's sacrifice. So now we move to next chapter, अथाष्टमो अध्याय, 8th chapter. Maitreya Uvacha. Maitreya said, Sanakadya naradascha ribhurhanso runiriyati naite grihan brahmasuta hiyavasunudham dretasaha. So if you remember, Maitreya was asked the question about the creation, how it started, what happened. So he started explaining that Brahma had different sons, and he had Daksha. Daksha had 3 daughters, and then he had a son Manu, and Manu was married to Satrupa. and he had a daughter. So all the story of creation was being described here. So now he's coming back to the topic. In between we started reading about the story of Lord Kapila came, the story of Ruchi and Akuti, and the story of Prasuti, who was married to Daksha. So Manu had 3 daughters, Devuti, Akuti and Prasuti. Akuti was married to Ruchi and gave birth to Yajna, the incarnation number 1. And Devuti was married to Kapila and she gave birth, Devuti was married to Kardama Rishi and she gave birth to Lord Kapila and 9 daughters. And then Prasuti had 50 daughters. And 13 of them were married to Dharma, and 27 to the moon god. And Sati out of them was married to Lord Shiva. So he spoke about Sati now. Now he is talking about some other sons of Brahma. So he says that Brahma had many sons who did not marry. They remained celibate brahmacharis, and they are Sankali, the first 4 sons who are known as Chatusana or the Kumaras. So they did not marry, and it is because of that Brahma had become angry at them. And then Lord Shiva was born. Then Narada also did not marry. Then there is a sage called Ribhu, Hamsa, Aruni and Yati. They are all sons of Brahma. They are called Urdhva sons or celibate by birth. Then Brahma had one son, which is the dangerous one. Now he talks about him. And this son's name is Adharma. So in Indian philosophy, there is one absolute reality and everything comes from him, good or bad. So Adharma means irreligion. Dharma means religion or moral principles. So immoral principles also come from Brahma. So now he is going to describe the family of Adharma. We have to also know this. As you have to know what you have to do, you also have to know what you don't have to do. Because that is also equally important. What is to be accepted, that also to be known. What you have to give up, that also you have to know. If you are vegetarian, you have to know what is a vegetable. Right? Because in Bengal, fish is a vegetable. They consider that fish is a vegetable, right? They call it jal.
Jal fruit.
They call it water vegetable. Jal sabji. Jal means water. So therefore in Bengal everybody eats fish. It's very rare to find somebody is from Bengal and does not eat fish. Jal Torai. They call it Jal Torai. Torai. So you have to know what is vegetable and what is meat. What you eat and what you don't eat. So you also have to know the Adharma and its family. So he says, Mrisha Adharmasya Bharya Asid Dambham Mayam Cha Shatruhan Asuta Mithunam Tattu Niriti Jagrihe Apraja. So he says that the Adharma is also son of Brahma. His wife's name is Mrisha. Mrisha means lies. So lie is the basis of Adharma. Just like truthfulness is the foundation of Dharma, Satyam Param Dhimahi, then telling lies is the foundation of Adharma. So she is the wife of Adharma. So here everything is depicted like a personality. So telling lies is also a person. If you tell lies, then the Mrisha will bless you, so that you can continue telling lies. It's like if you follow Dharma, then you get the blessings of Dharma. If you follow Adharma, then Adharma also becomes happy with you and will empower you to remain adharmic, irreligious. And there is a story in Mahabharata that once when all this problem between Kauravas and Pandavas was going on, then Duryodhana one day decided that actually why I am doing all this, I should give half the kingdom to the innest Pandava brothers. I didn't know any story. So at night he was kidnapped by Kali and he was taken to his abode and Kali brainwashed him. It's like when sometimes criminals are caught by police and they brainwash them at night, they keep them awake at night, they don't let them sleep, and when they cannot sleep then they ask them question. That is when these criminals speak the truth, because they can't hold their mind anymore. So Kali also took Duryodhana at night and fixed him up. So in the morning he changed his mind. So he was empowered to create this problem. So he says, Mrisha dharmasya bharya asid dambham maya cha shatruhan. And this Adharma and Mrisha, they gave birth to 2 children. One's name is Dambha. Dambha means hypocrisy. If you want to be a hypocrite, then you have to tell lies. And Maya. Maya is the sister and Dambha is the brother. Maya means delusion. You have to create delusion for people. So these 2 children were born to Adharma and Mrisha. So they are twins. Mithunam, Asuta Mithunam Tattu Niriti Jagrehe Apraja. And then they were adopted by Niriti. Niriti is the presiding deity of southwest direction and also considered as demoniac. He had no children, so he took them. Because Niriti also means falsehood. So let's read the commentary. Vimaturvagvir Rusaplushto Maturvaghamritapulatah Dhruvashtami Madhuvane Tapsotoshyadharim. So Sri Viswanath Chakravarti Thakur, he gives the gist of this chapter in one sloka. He said that in this 8th chapter there is a description about Dhruva, the boy, who was burnt by the poison in the form of the sharp words of her stepmother. And then he was revived by the nectar in the form of the words of his mother. And then he went to Madhuban colony, and he performed great austerities there to please Lord Hari. So that's what we will read here in this chapter. Then he comments, Tadevam manoho kanya vanshoktiya eva maricyadinam brahmaputranam api vansha varnitaha. So he says that till now he has described the dynasty or the family of the daughters of Manu. There were three of them, Devuti, Aputi and Prasuti. And then while describing this, the family of the sons of Brahma is also described. Marichi, Atri, Dhruva, because Devuti gave birth to Kapila and 9 daughters, and all these 9 daughters were married to the sons of Brahma, remember. And then their children were also described earlier. So that description is over now. Idanim tasya putra vanse vaktavye api lagvad avshishtanam brahmaputranam vansa jigyasayamah santavya. So actually now what he should do is that he should describe first the family of Manu's children. Manu had 2 sons, Uttanapad and Priyavrata. So he has described the family of the 3 daughters, and he had 2 sons. So he should describe family of 2 sons of Manu. But he says before that he describes the family of the remaining sons of Brahma. Why? Laghavat, because it is shorter. So there is a principle in Sanskrit which is called Suchi Kataha Nyaya. Suchi means a needle and Kataha means a big cauldron. So there is a blacksmith. He has to make a big cauldron and also one needle he has to make. So which one he should make first? So the principle is that which takes less time, we make that first, and then we make that what takes more time. If you are writing an exam, then try to answer the questions which have short answers. Finish that first, and then tackle the longer ones. So he says that the story about the Priyavrata Uttanapad, the sons of Manu, is longer. We will come to that. Let me first finish all the sons of Brahma. So therefore, he starts with this, the remaining sons of Brahma. Adharma api Brahmaputra. Adharma is also Brahma's son. So therefore he starts with that. That Adharma was married and he was married to Mrisha, and they gave birth to Dambha and Maya. He Shatruhan Adharmayeva Shatrustam Bhavad Vidhayeva Hantiti Artha. So he is addressing Vidura as Shatruhan. Why is he addressing him Shatruhan? Shatru means enemy and Han means killer. So because he is going to talk about Adharma, which is an enemy for a person who wants to follow the path of righteousness. So for that reason, he is addressing him. He says only a person like you, Vidura, who is a devotee of the Lord, can conquer over Adharma. That is the significance. Dambha Paraprataranam. What is the meaning of the word Dambha? These 2 children. Dambha means to cheat others. So that's what hypocrisy means. That you try to show off. And what is Maya? Maya is the appropriate activity done for that. When you want to cheat, then what is to be done to cheat? You have to put the other person in delusion. So that is called Maya. So these 2 were born because both are needed. If you have to, why do you tell lies? Because you want to cheat somebody. And if you have to cheat somebody, you also have to do some other things. You have to make up some show. So then that is called Maya. Tayo sodarayorapi dampatyam adharmanstaya. Then these two both were married, brother and sister. So why brother and sister are married? Because they are adharma. They are irreligious. Niriti Naritkona-adhipati. Niriti is the master of southwest direction. Tayo samabhavat lobho nikritischa mahamate tabhyam krodascha hinsa cha yadurukti swasa kalihi. So then these two, when they got married, Maya and Dhamma, then what was born? They also gave birth to a twin. Number one is Lobha, greed. And the daughter's name was Nikriti. Nikriti is maliciousness or wickedness. So then the greed is the outcome of all this. Why people cheat and why they have this activity of delusion, because they have greed. They want more than what they deserve or are qualified for, and for that they have to have nikriti or this wicked nature to support that. And then these two got married. They gave birth to Krodha and Hinsa. So Krodha means anger and Hinsa means violence, killing others. So these two were born to them. And then to them were born Kali and Durukti. When there is violence, then there is fight. When there is anger, there is violence. Right? Anger is followed by violence. And when there is anger and violence, then there is quarreling. The other person also reacts. And Durukti, abuse. Many give abusive statements. So this is the whole family of Kali. Nikriti, Shatpa, Nikriti means Shatpa or wickedness. Yati abhyam kalisya tasya sosa duruktisya. And then what happens after that? Durukto Kali radhate bhayam mrityum cha satyam. When this Kali and Durukti, they married each other. And out of that came fear and death. If you abuse and fight, then you also have fear because of the reaction, and then there is death. Tayoscha mithunam jagye yatna niryastatha. And then fear and death, they married each other. And they gave birth to Yatna and Nirya. Yatna means suffering and Nirya means hell. So outcome is suffering and you go to hell. So you start with adharma and end up in hell. This is the family. Sangrahena maya akhyata prati sargasthavanagha Trishrutya etat puman punyam vidhanoti atmanam. He says that in brief, I have explained to you the creation of adharma. By hearing this 3 times, a person attains piety and becomes free from the impurities. So you have to hear this also 3 times. एवमत्र शास्त्रे भक्तेरविधेयत्वेन तस्यास्य अनुकूल प्रतिकूल वस्तु जिज्ञासायां वर्जनीयत्वेन अधर्म वंशो नरकांतपुत्र. So Vishnu Chakravarti explaining that what is the need for this, why this has to be stated here. So he says that the purpose of this book is to explain about bhakti, devotion to Lord. And in devotion there are activities you perform. Devotion is not path of renunciation, but it is kriya yoga, it is path of action. So there are two things you have to perform in devotion, that you have to perform activities which are pleasing to the Lord, and you have to avoid activities which are not pleasing to the Lord. So both have to be known. So although the whole creation is coming from the Lord, but everything is not to be accepted. That is the significance. The demons are also coming from the Lord, the adharma is also coming from the Lord, and everything is sustained by Him, both good and bad, divine and demonic. As Krishna says, Do bhuta sargo lokasmin daiva asura. So there are two types of creation, daiva and asura, divine and demonic. And both are coming from Him, because He says, Aham sarvasya prabho matta sarvam pravartate. I am the source of everything. Everything originates from me. So that means the bad is also coming from Him. Tsunami is also coming from Him. And earthquake is also coming from Him. But one is acceptable and other is not. Divine is to be accepted because that is favorable to Him. And that what is not divine, demonic, that has to be shunned. So therefore knowledge of both is necessary. Otherwise sometimes people think that this is a book of bhakti, why all this is being taught, and they don't want to listen to these things. They say we should only listen to the just pastimes of Krishna with the gopis. So that is fine. But Krishna Himself is dealing with the demons. When He comes, even in Braj, He has to deal with demons. So we also have to know that, because these demons also appear in our life. So how to tackle them, that also has to be known. So that's why I said that here the family of Adharma has been explained, starting from Adharma, ending in Naraka or the hell. Sangrahena Sankshepena Pratisarga Pralaya Pralaya Hetutvat Pralaya. So he says that I have explained this in brief, and this is the cause of dissolution or death. He anagha Adharma Vansho Ayam Tvaya Nanu Bhute Tibha. So he is addressing Vidura as Adharma, Anagha or sinless, which means that Vidura has not experienced Adharma. Therefore he is addressing this. Now he is going to start the story of Dhruva Maharaj, because he has explained the history about Lord Brahma's sons. One of them was Manu. Manu had 3 daughters and 2 sons. So now he comes to the sons. So he says, Athatah kirte vansam punya kirte kurudvaha swambhavasyapi mano harer ansam sujanmanaha. Says that now I am going to describe to you the dynasty of Manu, whose name was Swayambhu, and he is also a manifestation of Lord's potency. Harer Ansa Ansu Janmana. So Manu is also a part of Lord Hari, and his dynasty is very pure, Punyakirti. It's very purifying to listen to his dynasty. That's why they are being described here. Punyam Varjan Dwara Punyakaram. Ekda Priyavrato Tanpadau Shatrupapate Sutau Vasudevasya Kalaya Rakshayam Jagata Stutau. Said that Swambhu Manu, his wife's name was Shatrupa, and there were two sons born to them, Priyavrata and Uttampan. Vasudevasya Kalaya Rakshayam Jagata Stutau. They were born also by the potency of Lord Vasudeva or Krishna for the maintenance and protection of the universe. Priya Jaya Uttana Padasya Suniti Suruchi Stayo Suruchi Prayasi Patyur Netaram Yatsuto Dhruvaha. So first he talks about the story of Uttanapad. He should also speak about story of Priyavrata. But Priyavrata, as we will read later on, he went to Himalayas to perform austerities. He was leading ascetic life, and Uttanpada was the one who was ruling. It is later on that Priyavrata was brought down by Brahma. So his story therefore will come later. Says that Uttanpad had two wives, Suniti and Suruchi. But he was very much attached to Suruchi and not to Suniti, whose son's name was Dhruva. So he had two wives and both had one son each. Suniti's son's name was Dhruva and Suruchi's son's name was Uttama. But he was very much attracted to Suruchi and therefore was not taking care or looking after Suniti so much. Was not favoring her. Hare Ransansa Nam Kapil Datta Yagya Prithu Rishpadi Nam Janma Yatastasya Vasudevasya Kalaya Kalarupena Vishnunaya Jagto Rakshatasyam Kriyayam Stito Tayo Jaya Mandi. Just explaining that. So now the story begins. And the story is that Ekda Suruche Putram Ankam Aropya Lalayan Uttamam Naru Rukshantam Dhruvam Raja Abhinandatam. One day the king was sitting on his throne and the son of Suruchi, his name was Uttama, he took him in his lap and he was fondling this boy. And that time the other boy, Dhruva, he was also there. So when he saw that his other brother Uttama is sitting in the lap of the father, then he also wanted to go and sit in the lap of the father. You know how children are. If one is doing something, then the other has to do that only. So he tried also to jump into the lap of his father, but the father did not allow him. So Dhruvam Na Raja Abhyanandatam. He did not appreciate this, that he also wants to come and sit in the lap. Dhishanyamanam yadesmat nirpatmajopi tvam mai kupsham na grihita tvam balo. No, this was not so bad that he did not allow him to sit in the lap. The problem was what the stepmother said. She was also standing there. Tatha chikeshamanam tam sapatnyastanayam dhruvam suruchi shunvato ragyasya shamahayati garvita. So when he was attempting to climb into the lap of his father. Then Suruchi, the mother of Uttama, who was standing nearby, when she saw this, then she could not tolerate this. And out of jealousy, while the king was listening, out of pride, she spoke the following words. So now this is what adharma is. You see how adharma will work and how adharma leads to all this fight and problems. So she was jealous. There was no need for her to be jealous. The husband is already favoring her and her son. But jealousy is such that your heart is burning. You don't want to see the other person even living. So Dhishanyam asanam yad yasmat nirpatmajopi tvam maya kukshav na grihita tvam balo asti yata na atmanam ityadi. So although he was also prince and had the right to be there sitting, but she did not allow. So she said like this: Navatsa nirpatar dhishanyam bhavan arodhum arhati na grihito maya yatvam kukshav api nirpatmajaha. He said that although you are son of a king, you are a prince, I know this, but you do not deserve to sit in the lap of the king. And why is that? Because you have not taken birth from me. This is your disqualification. Your qualification that you can sit in the lap is that you are the son of a king. So you are a prince, so you also deserve. But you are disqualified because you are not born from my womb. So this means she is also not caring for the husband, because the husband is listening to this. That means his being as a prince, his being son of Uttanpad has no meaning. Meaning is only if the person is born from her. Not allowed. So indirectly, she is also sending a message to the king that actually I am the real ruler, because I can, when they say, rule the roost. I am the one who is controlling here and not you. Although you are the king, because if I don't want this child to come into your life, I can stop. Who are you? बालोसी बत नात्मानम अन्य स्त्री गर्भ संवृतम नूनम वेद भवान यस्य दुर्लभे अर्थे मनोरथं. So why, if this is the case that you are disqualified to sit in this lap, then why this boy is making an attempt? What is the reason? So he says Balosi. He says because you are stupid. You are an ignorant fool, you don't understand. And therefore you are making this attempt, that trying for something which is unattainable to you. Durlabhe arthe manoratha. You are desiring for something which is unattainable to you. Why? Anya stri garbha samprita. Because of your defect of taking birth from another woman. Atmanam Anya stri garbha samritam nunam veda. This is you don't know this. He says you don't know the difference between taking birth from me and taking birth from someone else. There's a big difference. And this difference is making you completely disqualified. So you just forget it. You're trying of some impossible thing. तत्साराध्य पुरुषं तस्यैव अनुग्रहेण मे गर्भे त्वं साध्यते आत्मानं यदि इच्छसि विपासनं. So if the boy says that what is the solution now, what is done, I did not know this. If I had known that taking birth from you only will give me the qualification to sit in the lap of the king, then I would have done that. I have to go through the same trouble whether I take birth from you or from her. But now what am I supposed to do? So she answers. She says that now the only solution is that you go and you worship Lord Krishna, and by His grace then you take birth from my womb, and then you can think of sitting here. So he says, if you really desire that you want to sit in this place, then you worship God, get His blessing, then you die, then you take birth from me, then you can sit here. Just see. This is what pride means. That how people become so proud that they don't care for anything. So it means that even this devotion to Lord Hari has no meaning. What is important is taking birth from me. And worshipping Krishna is only a means for that. Means taking birth from me is such a great thing that you have to worship Krishna, you have to please Him, and then you can take birth from me. Becoming a devotee of Krishna is not the greatest thing. This is called pride. That a person can think like this. So Purusham Aradhyati Bhaktam Manya Vairagya hai Sannidhavu na tu vastu to Hari Bhakta hai. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that don't think that she is a devotee. It's because she is recommending him to worship Lord Krishna. Because it may look like, well, she is giving a very nice advice. She is not saying that you go and eat poison and then after death, while dying you think of me and you will be born in my womb. Okay, whatever you think at the time of death you will become that. What he is saying, worship the Lord. So one may think that she is a devotee, but she is not. And even she may think like that. But actually she is even being offensive. Tom Atmanam Mama Garbhe Sadhya iti samprati evi. So he says that somehow or other you have to bring yourself inside my womb. Samprati eva tri chaturai panchvarsaiva vratair madgarbhe prapti sadhanai harim santoshi. So what you have to do is that you do some austerities, some vratas, fasting, etc. for 3, 4, 5 years, and then please Lord Hari, and when He is pleased then you die quickly. And after that, Tvan matram am rudtim pashyami tyevatam sumam sa sukham bhavati. And when you will die, then your mother will cry. So when your mother will cry, then I will be happy. And you will be happy also. So why I will be happy? Because obviously I hate her. And she will cry because her son is dead. So I will enjoy that. And why you will enjoy? Because you will be able to take birth from me and sit on the seat. So then we both will be happy. This is the solution she is giving. So this, now from here it will be described how Dhruva reacted to this, which is very interesting. It will read tomorrow. It shows the mentality of a jealous person. How a person becomes very proud and jealous and cannot see things in the right perspective. It also shows that although Uttanapad was such a great king, and it is described that he was born to protect earth, right? But because of attachment to his wife, how he became so important. So this is what attachment does. When a person becomes attached to something and he loses power. When that object of attachment is not proper, and the purpose is not proper. Otherwise, how is that such a great king? Just sitting quietly and not saying anything. If he cannot even protect his own son, what protection he will give to others?
I have one question, Babaji.
Yes.
All what you read right now about this crota and jealousness, everything, sometimes I'm feeling it's everything also in me. So, but when somebody is more and more making me angry, then I would like to kill this person. But there is Krishna. How can I? Because there is Paramatma inside. How can I kill this person? Then he's happy. Babaji, why it is like that? It is all everything in me also. When they make me shh.
Yeah, this is what is being described. This description is about us only.
Yes, but how can we be that? You know.
Why they are giving this description if it is not in us?
Yeah, but it is very heavy to bring this out and not feel anything, you know.
It is heavy, but it has to be done.
Yeah, when somebody is abusing me, you know, then it's
Then-
paining me. So what
Then
should
you have to get angry.
then I can do it?
Yes. If somebody is abusing you, then you have to get angry.
Then I have this right, huh?
Yes.
Okay. Please. Yeah.
The anger which comes out of hypocrisy, pride, that is irreligious. You have to also hear what type of anger he was saying. That anger is born from hypocrisy and delusion, and then later on maliciousness, telling lies, all this. So that type of anger will take one to hell. But anger which is for the proper reason, that is good. Myself, somebody abused me. I'm dedicated to serve Krishna, my body is meant for Krishna's service. So I have to protect myself.
I have one other question about it. Shiva, he's living in the Svargaloka planet.
He has his own planet.
This is his own planet.
He's not living in the Swarga. He has his own planet.
Yes, his own planet. And what is the name of this planet?
It's called Siddhaloka.
What's so?
Siddhaloka.
Siddhaloka. So, you know why I asked Babaji? Because the Muslims, they want to go to this paradise, you know? Paradise.
Paradise.
This is also a spiritual planet, or it is in this
It's only
material
heaven.
world? In, huh?
It is heaven.
It's heaven.
Yeah.
And all the others is higher, huh?
Yeah, that is, Shiva is much higher than that.
I have a question about this brainwashing thing that happened to Duryodhana. He wants to give back the kingdom to the Pandavas, and somehow, although he has this good thinking he found himself to be right, and that he could not act on it.
Yes.
So it's very, I don't know, I want to know how this mechanism goes, because
That means he was not very firm in his decision. It's like there are people who have good nature, so they may get irreligious thought, but then they control it and they don't act on it. So here is an irreligious person, he got a good thought,
it doesn't
but
matter.
he didn't act on it.
Okay.
Last week you told a story about Lord or Maharaj Yudhishthira, who he went to hell and saw his brothers there, but they acted always in Dharma. How did they end up in hell?
Just for a short period. They also did something. Anyway, this hell was just created by Indra to show him. They really did not go to hell. This was an illusion created by Indra.
So they didn't actually go to hell.
Because he was trying to make a point to him that don't bring this enmity from earth to the spiritual world and to heaven. You should forget what was your relationship.
Because Duryodhana was there in heaven and he was having this hatred even then.
Yeah. So if you don't continue that mentality here. That means if you go and live in a particular place, you should have a suitable consciousness for that. So the idea that he went in the same body and others died and went, means they died and their mentality was changed. He went in the same body means same consciousness. Now if he wants to live there, he has to change his consciousness. So that's what is being depicted.